Chapter 71. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Uchiha Clan lands. When Uchiha reunion returned to the clan square, Danzo's head in tow, silence fell. The sight of Danzo's grotesque, lifeless face sent shivers down everyone's spines, their minds reeling. How could this be? He's dead. Shimura Danzo, leader of the Root organization, a key figure in Konoha, was gone. Root was a formidable force, and they'd come at the Uchiha with everything they had. Normally, wiping out the Uchiha would have been a piece of cake, but then reunion showed his hand. Even a desperate move like the Four Seal was useless against him, which just showed how helpless Root and Danzo were. Seconds ticked by, then, a minute later, reunion casually tossed Danzo's head aside. The sickening thud snapped the Uchiha ninjas out of their trance. He took out Root and killed Danzo. Uchiha reunion is a total badass. From now on, he's our clan's living god. I'm gonna start training my taijutsu. The square erupted in cheers, the Uchiha clan unable to contain their joy. Every eye was glued to reunion, filled with awe and excitement. He just might be our clan's savior, Uchiha Fugaku murmured, a surge of hope swelling in his chest. From now on, the Uchiha are back, just like in the Warring States period. Danzo's dead, Root's finished, and the Uchiha extermination plan is a bust. Even Uchiha Itachi, standing back from the crowd, struggled to maintain his composure. Horror and disbelief twisted his features. What is going on? How could this happen? The Uchiha were supposed to be down for the count, and now reunion pulls this. It was like a shot of adrenaline straight to the clan's heart, making Itachi's stomach churn. He'd accepted this mission, condemning his clan for the sake of the village, to protect it from war and fulfill the will of fire. He was supposed to leave Sasuke alive, fuel his desire for revenge, but now. It was all for nothing. With Danzo gone, Konoha was headed for a civil war, and Itachi was caught in the middle, hated by everyone. He could feel the clan's animosity, the hunger for revenge in their eyes. This Uchiha. Even the masked man, Uchiha Obito, was dumbfounded. Reunion's strength was off the charts. Elite taijutsu. It had to be a joke. Alright, how do you want this to end? Reunion asked, a smirk playing on his lips as he looked at Obito and Itachi. With Danzo and Root gone, and you two traitors out of the picture, Konoha can finally turn a new page. He paused, emphasizing, don't you think? Uchiha Obito? Wait, isn't Obito dead? The guy with the mask is Uchiha Obito. The revelation dropped like a bomb. Not only had Itachi betrayed them, but Obito too. What did you say? The masked man's face visibly tightened under the mask. Maintaining a facade of calm, he pushed back, my name is Madara Uchiha. Don't play coy, reunion countered. You're Uchiha Obito. I'll never forget that loser stench. You. Obito was floored. Loser stench. He wasn't the same Obito. How could he still have that smell? But faced with reunion's power, he forced himself to breathe, and said with a forced calm, the old Uchiha Obito is dead. Is that so? Reunion smiled, raising his kusanagi. Get ready, Obito said, sensing reunion's rising killing intent. Obito and Itachi exchanged a look, and stepped into battle formation. Chapter 72. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As Itachi Uchiha and Obito Uchiha got ready for a fight, the atmosphere in the Uchiha district turned heavy, like the air itself was thickening. Just when the tension was almost unbearable, Reunion Uchiha paused, glanced at Fugaku Uchiha, and said calmly, you all should back away, just in case you get caught in the crossfire. Got it. Fugaku's expression shifted for a second before he gestured to the others. Whoosh. Whoosh, with sounds of rushing air, the Uchiha clan members in the square quickly and systematically retreated. This is it. In that instant, Itachi, who'd been waiting for his chance, darted forward, stopping right in front of Reunion Uchiha. His Mangekyo Sharingan eyes blazed with immense power. Amaterasu. He spoke the name in a low voice. Itachi's right eye twitched as he locked his gaze on Reunion. That feeling, Leonian frowned, realizing Itachi's intention. He made no move to dodge, instead gripping his Kusanagi blade tighter, sizzle, combining the power of his tremor fruit with the hardening of his armament haki, a white-blue aura crackled around the blade of the Kusanagi. Leonian swung it in a simple, light arc. Crack. Crack, then, to Itachi's disbelief, the burst of black Amaterasu flames that had just appeared was sliced apart by a wave of white energy, scattering around the square and setting the ground ablaze. How? Itachi's face twisted as he watched his Amaterasu get wrecked. The power in his left Mangekyo Sharingan surged again, if Amaterasu, the strongest physical attack, can't do it, then I'll trap him in an illusion. That should work, right, Tsukuyomi, the power he was pouring into his Mangekyo Sharingan caused his eye to bleed, but a smile appeared on Itachi's face. His illusion had worked. Leonian Uchiha suddenly felt his surroundings turn unreal. He was now standing in a desolate, barren world of red and black. So this is Tsukuyomi, where a moment inside feels like an eternity, he thought. He looked around, expressionless, then glanced at Itachi floating in the air. Your illusion is weak. Weak? Itachi shook his head. In Tsukuyomi, everything is under my control. Time, space, reality itself. I am God here. He slowly reached out a hand and gestured lightly toward Leonian, bang, a huge cross appeared out of thin air, then, chains wrapped around Leonian, as if to bind him to the cross and punish him. I might have struggled against this illusion before, but now. Leonian smiled faintly at Itachi. Do you even know what it means to be above everything, to reign over the world, rumble, before he finished speaking, an immense, imperial power, as if he intended to rule the entire ninja world, radiated from Leonian, crack. Crack, without warning, Itachi's Tsukuyomi space started to crack, lines appearing out of nowhere. Seconds later, the Tsukuyomi shattered from an overwhelming force. Back in reality, Itachi screamed as blood poured from his left eye, but he didn't care. He stared at Leonian, his eyes wide with disbelief, as if he was looking at a monster. Pressure, his Tsukuyomi was broken by sheer pressure. Was this a joke? Despair washed over Itachi. It wasn't that he was weak, but that his opponent was far too strong. You lost. Leonian stepped forward. When the body reaches a certain level of strength, the spirit transforms. Illusions become useless. Don't get cocky. Seeing Itachi's attack fail, Obito, who'd been silent, gritted his teeth. In a flash, he was behind Leonian, grabbing his shoulder. Kamui, his cold voice rang out, *wumph, terrifying power pulsed, the space around Obito and Leonian twisted into a vortex, as if trying to swallow them whole. Obito was trying to suck Leonian into the Kamui dimension. Leonian Uchiha, you'll be staying in my Kamui dimension for a while. Obito's eyes, behind the mask, gleamed with crazed triumph as Leonian was pulled into the vortex. You're the first ninja to get this close to me. Facing Obito's deadly strike, Leonian casually turned his head, looked at Obito, and grinned. Do you know what the power to destroy the world is? Enough talk, Obito snarled. You deserve to die, Leonian Uchiha. Oh, Leonian's eyes turned cold. He clenched his fist and punched into the swirling, distorted space. The force of his tremor fruit, armament haki, and immortal chakra combined into one devastating blow. Crack, It wasn't the air cracking, but the sound of space itself breaking apart. Impossible. Obito's eyes widened in disbelief. He never thought Leonian would be crazy enough to try and break the distortion of space caused by his Kamui. He shuddered, thinking of what would happen when the space shattered. Nothing is impossible. Leonian took a breath and poured more power into his fist. Rumble, A massive shockwave erupted from the center of the vortex, around Leonian and Obito. It shattered the twisted space, unleashing a force that seemed capable of destroying the world. You're insane. You're a lunatic. Kamui intangibility. Faced with the sudden spatial explosion, Obito activated his Kamui ability and tried to phase out of existence. He finally understood what Lionian meant by the power to destroy the world. I was waiting for you to phase. As Obito began to fade, Lionian covered himself in armament haki. He endured the spatial explosion and punched Obito in the chest. Because Obito's body was becoming intangible, Lionian's fist and the shockwave passed through him without causing damage. It's useless, Obito said. In my intangible state, I am invincible. Then I'll knock you out of your intangible state. Lionian smirked. I'll keep attacking you for 5 minutes straight. I wonder if that will be enough. You, *wumph, star, before he could finish, Obito's head throbbed, he was in a panic. How did Lionian know about Kamui's weakness? Under normal circumstances, his intangibility was limited, but in his current one-eyed state, it could be broken in 5 minutes. His Mangekyo Sharingan was already drained, even with the cells he transplanted from Hashirama. He couldn't hold out, he might not even need 5 minutes. 3, maybe, and his defense would shatter. Boom, 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 star. Lionian rained down countless blows on the phasing Obito. The punches passed through Obito's body at incredible speed, creating continuous explosions in the air and sending out shockwaves. This is insane, isn't it? Itachi, Uchiha and that masked guy are getting completely destroyed. Uchiha-sama is way too strong. He's like a human monster. Those Uchiha who had evacuated watched, stunned. What could they even say? Itachi and the masked man were powerful, but they were outmatched. It's over. Itachi sank to the ground, his Mangekyo Sharingan fading. Lionian tirelessly threw punches. Time passed. Each punch made Obito's heart sink. He'd never felt so helpless. He'd dug his own grave. He was panicking. No, it's time. Suddenly, Obito's expression changed. *wumph, star. His body snapped back into solid form. Now, Lionian's haki alerted him. He clenched his fist and swung. You, Obito's eyes, behind the mask, widened in horror. He tried to speak, but it was too late. Bang, star. The masked man, Obito Uchiha, was blasted apart, his body exploding into a cloud of blood in the square. Boom, star. The moment Obito died, the black and white Zetsu, who'd been hiding in the shadows, couldn't wait any longer. They detonated the explosive tags that the root organization had planted in the Uchiha district long ago. Thundered. Thundered, star. A series of deafening explosions rocked the Uchiha compound. Crap. Quick. Put out the fires. So many explosive tags. That's low, isn't it? The sudden explosions snapped the Uchiha out of their shock. Without orders from Fugaku, they scattered to deal with the aftermath. In the chaos, no one noticed that Itachi had disappeared. Izanagi, Kuro Zetsu, Obito Uchiha, Itachi Uchiha. Lionian watched the explosions thoughtfully, a hint of amusement in his eyes. With his advanced observation haki, he knew a lot of things. He knew that the root organization had buried explosive tags. He knew that the black and white Zetsu were lurking nearby. He knew that Black Zetsu had taken Itachi, but he didn't care. He didn't want to waste time on them. He had to deal with Konoha first. Sarutobi was waiting for news of the Uchiha clan's annihilation. If the Uchiha hadn't been wiped out, then wiping out the Sarutobi clan would be a welcome surprise, wouldn't it? Then, when the sun rose, the real show could begin. Chapter 73. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Outside the Uchiha compound, by a massive illusion barrier. All those detonators. Root must be doing a final sweep. Konoha's top clan, the Uchiha, are about to be wiped out. After today, there won't be any Uchiha left in the ninja world. The Uchiha clan will be history. The dozen or so ANBU operatives exchanged glances, a few of them sighing as they felt the earth shake with explosions coming from inside the barrier. I'll go report to Lord Third, one of the squad leaders said, gesturing to the others. He vanished into the night. We hold the line, the other squad leader ordered, his face grim. Don't let a single Uchiha, ninja or civilian, escape. Understood. Konoha, Hokage's office. Hiruzen, any word from Anbu? Point one of the Konoha elders looked anxious. It's been too long. The Uchiha should have been dealt with by now. Exactly, Mito Menyen stretched, looking tired. Danzo promised us he'd wrap it up in 5 hours. What's the hold-up? Dawn's almost here and still no news. Patience, Sarutobi, the third Hokage, said, frowning slightly. The Uchiha are Konoha's foremost clan. These things can take time. Fine. Mito Menyen and Koharu considered this, and said nothing more. Knock, knock, star. Suddenly, a harried Anbu operative burst in, kneeling. Lord Hokage, urgent news. Speak. Sarutobi said, face brightening, setting down his pipe in anticipation. A massive explosion ripped through the Uchiha district. It appears Root is clearing the area. The operative reported, taking a breath. Good. Excellent. Before Sarutobi could respond, Koharu and Mito Menyen shot to their feet, the fatigue of the long night instantly gone. Dismissed, Sarutobi said, waving his hand. He took a long drag on his pipe. Nothing could be more thrilling than this news. With Root handling the final stages, the Uchiha extermination was a complete success. Come morning, he'd be able to truly shine as Hokage. First, he'd brand Uchiha Itachi as a wanted criminal, then he'd dismantle Danzo's Root organization. This would be his explanation to the other clans of Konoha. Meanwhile, outside Konoha Village, in a cold, damp cave, whoosh, star, with a swirl of displaced air, Obito crash-landed on the ground. Damn it! How could this happen? Obito's face under his mask contorted in rage. He'd volunteered to help with the Uchiha extermination, and now he'd not only failed, but nearly lost his life in Konoha. Removing his mask, Obito saw that the transplanted Sharingan in his eye socket was permanently blinded. At the last second, he'd been forced to use Izanagi, the forbidden Uchiha technique. That Uchiha Ryunyen, he's been hiding his strength. Things in Konoha are about to change, Zetsu, half white and half black, said, emerging from the ground, looking disturbed by Uchiha Ryunyen's power. Damn him! Obito clenched his fist, one eye burning with fury. Uchiha Ryunyen had taught him a painful lesson. He vowed to master ultimate power, crush everything, and create an ideal world free from war, a world of eternal peace. Oh, right. Shiro Zetsu glanced at Obito. What about Uchiha Itachi? Transplant him with Hashirama cells, Obito snapped. Got it. By Zetsu nodded. Kuro Zetsu said nothing. Uchiha Ryunyen's unexpected display of power had already exceeded his calculations. Konoha Village, the Uchiha district. After dealing with the fallout from the detonator explosions, the Uchiha ninjas gathered again in the ruined square. The damage didn't dampen their spirits. Lord Ryunyen, we're so grateful. Lord Ryunyen, will you teach me taijutsu? Lord Ryunyen, if it weren't for you, we'd all be dead. We can't stay in Konoha, not anymore. The Uchiha ninjas looked at Ryunyen with heartfelt gratitude and admiration. Konoha's leaders wanted to wipe us out. Are you okay with that? Ryunyen asked, scanning the crowd. Hell no, Ryunyen, we're not okay with that. The Uchiha have served Konoha loyally. Why would they want to destroy us? Danzo led Root to attack us in broad daylight. Clearly, the higher-ups approved it. What can we do? We'll take them down with us. The Uchiha aren't afraid to die. Some of the Uchiha ninjas exchanged uneasy glances, others were furious, ready to march to the Hokage's office and use Sarutobi's head as a chamber pot. Good, Ryunyen said, taking a deep breath. Quiet down for a moment. Whoosh, star. A wave of conquerors' haki washed over them, silencing the crowd. I didn't want to do this, Ryunyen said, shrugging. But since Konoha is determined to destroy the Uchiha, I'm forced to act. So, to solve the problem, to teach Konoha's leaders a lesson, let's go kill all the Sarutobi clan members while it's still dark. Silence, utter silence, the faces of the Uchiha ninjas froze. Even Fugaku, the clan head, was shaken. Kill all the Sarutobi clan members. That was extreme. The Sarutobi clan was one of Konoha's most prominent families. Ever since the third Hokage took office, they become even more powerful. After the Uchiha were pushed to the outskirts of Konoha, the Sarutobi clan had even seized much of their territory and resources, and now Ryunyen was suggesting they wipe them all out. Well, Ryunyen looked at the silent crowd, a cold smile playing on his lips. Are you too scared? Scared? Hell no. Lord Ryunyen, what do you want us to do? They tried to kill us. Why can't we kill them? The Sarutobi are finished. Ryunyen's words ignited the fire in their hearts. The Uchiha ninjas were now ready to fight. Jonin and elite Jonin skilled in stealth, come with me. The rest of you stay here and rest. Having made his decision, Ryunyen wasn't one to hesitate. After killing Danzo, there was no turning back. Since Konoha was now their enemy, there was no need for mercy. Killing all the Sarutobi clan members was just a warm-up. Here we go. Fugaku clenched his fists, taking a deep breath. He knew that the fate of the Uchiha clan was now bound to Ryunyen. Konoha Village, the Sarutobi clan compound. As one of the founding clans of Konoha, the Sarutobi clan had a long and proud history. Since Hiruzen became Hokage, their influence had steadily grown. In the dead of night, most of the Sarutobi clan were asleep. Swish, swish. *20 figures landed silently. After taking out a few Sarutobi guards, Ryunyen and his Uchiha ninjas arrived in a small courtyard within the Sarutobi compound. Whoosh, without warning, a terrifying aura washed over the compound. Under Ryunyen's control, it was Conqueror's Haki. Ryunyen could now control his Haki with precision. To avoid raising the alarm, he focused his Haki solely on the Sarutobi compound. Rumble, the Sarutobi clan members were caught completely off guard. Many of them were stunned in their sleep. Even the Jonin felt a buzzing in their heads and passed out. Only a few elite Jonin sensed the Haki and felt a chill of dread. How dare someone attack the Sarutobi compound? After a minute, even those elite shinobi succumbed to Ryunyen's Haki. Go, Ryunyen said coldly, taking a deep breath. Make this quick. Swish, Ryunyen shot forward. What followed was a massacre. With the Sarutobi ninjas incapacitated, the Uchiha ninjas cut them down like wheat. Morning. As the sky began to lighten, the Konoha ANBU removed the barrier around the Uchiha district. Curious, some of the ANBU went to inspect the area. They found signs of battle and explosions, and the air reeked of blood, but there wasn't a single body. That's right, not one single body. At first, the ANBU assumed Root had cleaned up the mess, but when they went to Root headquarters, they found that Danzo and his forces were missing, as if they'd vanished into thin air. P.S. Please leave some tips, comments, collect them. Thank you. Chapter 74. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Konoha Village, inside the Hokage building. What the hell is going on? What's Danzo up to? The Uchiha extermination couldn't have failed, could it? Bang. Hiruzen Sarutobi slammed his hand on the table, his face hardening. It's dawn. Where is he? Hamura Mitokado looked equally grim. If Danzo doesn't have a good explanation this time, there'll be hell to pay. I've already sent out the Umbu. Sarutobi, the third Hokage, stretched, a knowing glint in his eyes. After wiping out the Uchiha, Danzo's probably been busy collecting Sharingan. A flicker of displeasure flashed in the Hokage's eyes. He knew about Danzo's secret dealings with Orochimaru. Let's hope so. Hamura and Koharu exchanged worried glances, sinking into their chairs. None of them, not Sarutobi, Hamura, nor Koharu, had ever considered the possibility of the Uchiha extermination failing, let alone Danzo dying. They were convinced the mission was a done deal. Suddenly, a shadow rushed into the Hokage's office, his face etched with disbelief. Lord Third, something's wrong. Sarutobi, who was enjoying his pipe, frowned. He assumed Danzo was stirring up more trouble. Danzo, Uchiha Itachi, all the Root ninjas, and the entire Uchiha clan have vanished. The Umbu ninja's voice trembled. We've searched everywhere, but there's no trace of them. Vanished? Sarutobi was at a loss. Why would Danzo, who was supposed to be wiping out the Uchiha clan, disappear along with them? What kind of game was this? Could it be that Danzo stole the Uchiha's wealth and defected from the village? Hamura's face paled, voicing the unthinkable. No way. Koharu looked uneasy. This was getting more and more confusing. If Danzo really had absconded with the Uchiha's riches and a horde of Sharingan, they'd been played for fools. Lord Third, the Sarutobi clan is in trouble. Just then, another panicked voice rang out. A Sarutobi clan shinobi stumbled into the office, clutching a box. Seeing the shinobi, Sarutobi felt a dark premonition settle over him. What's wrong? What's happened to the Sarutobi clan? They're all dead. The shinobi looked terrified, sweat pouring down his face, his voice shaking. All of them. Dead? What are you talking about? Sarutobi's heart leaped into his throat. Every single Sarutobi clan ninja is dead. The shinobi took a deep breath, his face contorted in pain, *bang, Sarutobi's eyes widened as he slammed the desk, shocked. What did you just say? The shinobi was petrified with fear, collapsing onto the floor. But he somehow managed to relay the horrific events that had befallen the Sarutobi clan, *clang, the pipe fell from Sarutobi's hand, cold sweat breaking out on his brow. The entire Sarutobi clan had been wiped out last night, no signs of a struggle. Each one killed with a single blow. What? The Sarutobi clan wiped out? Koharu and Hamura exchanged horrified glances. It couldn't be true. This was the Sarutobi clan. Who in Konoha would dare to attack them, to slaughter them all? It was tantamount to declaring war on the village. How is that possible? Sarutobi felt his head spin, his mind reeling. How could an entire clan of ninjas be silently eliminated overnight? It defied belief, and why? They'd ordered the Uchiha clan to be dealt with last night, so why was the Sarutobi clan targeted as well? Investigate. Find out who did this. After what felt like an eternity, Sarutobi regained his composure, his voice a low growl. Mobilize the Umbu. I want answers, now. Lord Third. The Sarutobi clan shinobi shakily held up the black box. This was found on Sarutobi clan grounds. What's that? Sarutobi recoiled at the sight of the box, flinging it away, *bang, the box hit the wall, *click, the box flew open, something tumbled out, Sarutobi froze. Koharu gasped, her face ashen. Hamura stared, dumbstruck. Chapter 75. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Silence fell over the office like a hammer, *clatter, Koharu's teacup slipped from her trembling hand and shattered on the floor. For a senior leader of Konoha to be so rattled that she couldn't even hold a cup, it spoke volumes, but nobody cared about Koharu's clumsy moment. All eyes were wide with fear, the Anbu, the Sarutobi clan's ninja, even Hokage Sarutobi himself, along with Mito Menyen, they were all completely shaken. Damn! Thump! After an eternity, it seemed, the third Hokage collapsed back into his chair, his face ashen. He was utterly stunned, he couldn't remember ever being this shaken. The massacre of the Sarutobi clan was a social death for them in Konoha, and now Danzo was gone too, taking a vital ally with him. Koharu finally snapped, letting out a strangled scream as she slumped into her chair, paralyzed with terror. How is this possible? Mito Menyen stomped his feet, his face contorted with disbelief. He clutched his head, writhing in pain, his whole body shuddering, because the head in the box, it was Danzo's, even obscured by blood, the features were unmistakable to those who had known him for years. The distorted face and the lingering rage in the eyes confirmed it, Shimura Danzo was dead. Why is this happening? The third Hokage stared at Danzo's severed head, his heart pounding in his chest. He thought of the vanished Uchiha clan, and the Sarutobi clan ninjas murdered overnight. A chill ran down his spine. How could Danzo be dead? Why? Could the Uchiha have had a hidden ace? Koharu and Mito Menyen forced themselves to take a deep breath, struggling to suppress their terror, their faces etched with disbelief. They had been celebrating the Uchiha clan's demise, so thrilled that they'd stayed up all night. Now, instead of triumph, they faced utter disaster, the Uchiha's disappearance, the Sarutobi clan's annihilation. It was terrifying to contemplate. They had thought the Uchiha were the fools, but now they realized the fools were them. Konoha's leadership, Sarutobi, Koharu, and Mito Menyen exchanged horrified glances, each recognizing the dread in the other's eyes. Everyone, out. The third Hokage finally spoke, his voice tight with suppressed fury. The Anbu and Sarutobi clan ninja bolted from the room, practically tripping over themselves in their haste. They knew something catastrophic had happened, and the sheer pressure radiating from the village elders was enough to scare them to death. Damn it, we've been played. Who's behind this? Wiping out the Sarutobi clan, is this a direct challenge to us? Once they were alone, the third Hokage, Koharu, and Mito Menyen unleashed their fury. How long had it been since they'd been humiliated like this? Wiping out the Sarutobi clan. What was the message? Were they testing Konoha's leaders? What do we do now? The plan to eliminate the Uchiha has clearly failed. We have to find out who's responsible. The third Hokage, Koharu, and Mito Menyen exchanged grim looks, their expressions hardening with determination. They had faced nothing this serious since taking the reins of Konoha. What made it even worse was that they didn't even know who their enemy was, leaving them seething with impotent rage. Could it be the Uchiha? Koharu spoke hesitantly, her expression shifting. That cursed clan, after taking out Danzo and Root, they wiped out the Sarutobi ninjas and then vanished overnight. Impossible. Are you serious? The third Hokage snapped back. We all knew the Uchiha's limits. That's why we pushed the extermination plan through. You think the Uchiha would have kept taking our crap if they had something up their sleeves? Mito Menyen added, his face grim. We've been suppressing and marginalizing them for years. They never dared to fight back before. This. Koharu fell silent. Silence descended on the office once more, a shared sense of dread washed over them. It was as if a net was closing around Konoha. Bang, star, the door burst open and an Anbu operative stumbled in, his voice filled with panic. Third Hokage-sama. Uchiha Fugaku, the Uchiha clan head, and some elite ninja, they're here. What? Uchiha Fugaku? He dares to show his face. Well, isn't that special? The words were like a shot of adrenaline. The third Hokage, Koharu, and Mito Menyen snapped out of their stupor, their eyes gleaming with newfound focus. There's a saying about heaven and hell, P.S., tips, collections, flowers, and reviews are appreciated. Chapter 76. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A few minutes later, guided by a shadow ninja, Fugaku and Ryuen Uchiha entered the Hokage's office. The moment they stepped through the door, they sensed a fleeting wave of undisguised hostility. How pathetic, Ryuen thought, suppressing a smile. He kept his face neutral as he followed Fugaku inside. The previous evening, after eliminating the Sarutobi clan's ninja force, the Uchiha clan had moved their entire operation overnight to a hidden basement beneath Nanga's shrine. They used their Sharingan to create illusions to evade surveillance, so the Umbu had no idea what was really happening. Fugaku, you're here, Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, said, his eyes betraying his unease as he forced a smile. He completely ignored Ryuen. Yes, Fugaku replied, his expression blank, though he was secretly amused. The moment they entered, Hiruzen, Hamura, and Koharu had glared at him as if they wanted to tear him apart. Did anything happen with the Uchiha clan last night? Hiruzen asked casually, picking up his pipe. As a matter of fact. Before he finished, Fugaku cut him off, feigning alarm. Yes. What is it? Hiruzen frowned, gripping his pipe tighter. Hamura and Koharu exchanged glances and subtly reached for their kunai. Just kidding. Fugaku chuckled, a skilled politician. Everything's fine. The Uchiha clan had a great night. Oh. I see, Hiruzen stammered, trying to regain his composure. Good, good. Koharu and Hamura's expressions tightened, and their hands trembled on their kunai. If Hiruzen hadn't instructed them to stand down, they would have arrested Fugaku and interrogated him on the spot. They're all such born politicians. Ryuan mused to himself. They knew he was lying, and were furious, waiting for him to reveal his hand. Yet, they hesitated to escalate the situation. Maybe that's why Hiruzen, the Hokage with the longest reign in Konoha's history, was called the Professor. Longevity, after all, had its perks. But was he the strongest Hokage in history? That was debatable. As the two sides continued their charade, Ryuan had an idea. System, initiate sign in at the Hokage's office. Seconds ticked by, 10 seconds, 30, finally, a minute later, the system chimed, ding. Congratulations, host. You have successfully signed in at the Hokage's office, ding. You have received, 5 elements unsealing, 3-party sealing, sealing ghoul consuming, 5 release great bullets, and compound ninja art, earth dragon torrent, ding. The rewards have been deposited into your system inventory. You can access them at any time. Once the fusion is accepted, you can use them instantly, well, this is quite a haul, Ryuan thought. The system had refreshed the sign-in locations numerous times over the years, but never here until now, 10 years of signing in, and it chose the Hokage's office. Was that intentional? Signing in here had rewarded him with 2 S-rank sealing techniques, an A-rank sealing technique, and 2 compound ninja arts. The 3-party seal, from what he knew of Fuinjutsu legends, seemed to require 2 shadow clones. Then the main body and clones would create a green, transparent pyramid-shaped barrier in the north, east, and west, creating a strong enclosure to trap the opponent, while Ryuan was assessing his new abilities. Thump, perhaps tired of the pretense, Hiruzen slammed his hand on the table and roared, Fugaku Uchiha, what did the Uchiha clan do last night? Here we go. Fugaku, you're really playing the innocent, Koharu and Hamura thought, seizing their opportunity. They moved swiftly to flank Fugaku, whoosh. Whoosh. Whoosh, the sound of rushing wind filled the air outside the Hokage building as the hidden Umbu, already positioned, swarmed the building, ready for battle. Hiruzen, you want to know what happened yesterday? Fugaku snapped back, his composure finally cracking. Last night, Danzo sent the root ninja to attack the Uchiha clan. Are you telling me the Konoha Council didn't know about it? We know. Hiruzen admitted grimly. Then you don't need to ask, Fugaku said, cutting him off. He turned his gaze to Koharu and Hamura, sneering. The root organization was wiped out by the Uchiha clan. What? Just the Uchiha clan? Impossible. Hiruzen, Koharu, and Hamura were stunned, then scoffed as if they'd heard a ridiculous joke. A joke, indeed. The Uchiha clan's true strength was known by the Konoha Council. How could they have possibly destroyed Root? Of course, the Uchiha clan didn't act alone. But... Fugaku paused, looking pointedly at Ryuan. The message was clear, I've done my part. It's your turn, Chapter 77. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sensing Fugaku's pleading gaze, Leonien remained impassive, giving a subtle nod. Phew, Fugaku visibly relaxed. For the first time, he'd stood tall and spoken his mind to the Konoha Council. It felt fantastic, unlike before, when as Uchiha clan head, he'd been afraid to say anything, terrified of the council finding some excuse to punish the clan. But the council was still the council. When truly angered, they were a force to be reckoned with. Then, to the surprise of Hiruzen, Koharu, and Hamura, Fugaku abruptly stood up. Ignoring the kunai-wielding elders, he gestured for Leonien to join him. It was as if he were inviting Leonien for a friendly visit. What? Seeing this, Hiruzen, Hamura, and Koharu were shocked, their anger momentarily forgotten. Fugaku, what are you playing at? Are you mocking us? Swish. Swish, perhaps driven by a sudden rage, Koharu and Hamura's eyes flashed with malice as they launched a coordinated attack on Fugaku from both sides. Hiruzen's eyes narrowed, and he raised his hand, ready to signal the Umbu to strike. There was no turning back now. They would have to capture Fugaku and interrogate him to uncover the truth. Heh. Fugaku, however, simply smirked, crossed his arms, and stood motionless, showing no intention of defending himself. You dare look down on us? Suppressing their fury, Koharu and Hamura aimed their kunai at Fugaku's eyes, moving with lightning speed. If you think you can underestimate us, then we'll cripple you by destroying your Sharingan. Rumble. But in that instant, an overwhelming force erupted from Leonyen's body. It soared through the Hokage building, causing cracks to appear in the structure. It was a king's presence descending upon the ninja world, demanding absolute submission. It was Houshiku Haki, one of the 3 types of Haki. After acquiring and merging Whitebeard's template, Leonyen had finally unleashed his royal nature and the spirit of a conqueror. Facing the Konoha Council, he could no longer hold back. He'd never felt any real attachment to Konoha. That's why, even after transmigrating into the Uchiha clan and gaining a god-level sign-in system, he hadn't actively tried to change the plot. He'd planned to sign in quietly, maybe take a few wives, and then surprise everyone during the 4th Shinobi World War with his unrivaled power. But then the Uchiha clan was on the brink of annihilation. Unlike Shisui or Itachi, Leonyen wasn't going to be forced into a corner. After 10 years of signing in, it was time to unleash his power. So, in this moment, rumble, this terrifying Houshiku Haki. Precisely controlled by Leonyen and fueled by his pent-up frustration. Washed over Koharu, Hamura, Hiruzen, and the Umbu ninjas surrounding the Hokage building. What is this? Leonyen, what's with this incredible power? Impossible. The instant they sensed the Houshiku Haki, Koharu and Hamura froze mid-attack, exclaiming in disbelief. Even Hiruzen was visibly shocked. Then, Koharu and Hamura, being slightly weaker, along with the Umbu ninjas, felt their minds reel and their bodies tremble. They were paralyzed. This can't be real. It's not an illusion. It's pure force. Koharu and Hamura, closest to Leonyen, now wore expressions of sheer terror as their faces contorted. They never imagined that anyone could unleash such an immense wave of power and pressure. Leonyen glanced at Koharu and Hamura with indifference, a cold snort escaping his lips. Rumble. At the sound of that snort, Koharu and Hamura's minds shattered. It felt as if they were facing Whitebeard himself, about to be obliterated by his world-shattering fist. Their hearts gave out. Faced with this horrific vision, the already frail Koharu and Hamura couldn't withstand the onslaught. Their minds went blank. Thump. Thump. A few seconds later, the sound of bodies hitting the ground echoed through the hall. Koharu and Hamura were the first to fall, followed by most of the Umbu ninjas who had been lying in wait. Only a few elite jonin remained standing, but even those elite shinobi stared at the Hokage building in stunned disbelief. They weren't fools. They knew the source of that power was inside the building. P.S. Please leave tips. Collect this. Flowers and reviews are greatly appreciated, thank you. Chapter 78. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the Hokage's office. Alright, the moment Uchiha Leonyen focused, he reined in his conqueror's haki. Satisfied, he nodded, having confirmed its reach with his observation haki. This was the first time he'd unleashed his full conqueror's haki. It had started a little rough, cracking the Hokage building, but, with fine-tuned control, he'd managed to target only Koharu, Mito Menyen, Sarutobi Hiruzen, and the hidden leaf Anbu surrounding the Hokage building. The effect was perfect. It was you all along. Sprawled on the ground, the force of the haki still shaking her, Koharu Uchiha stared at the Uchiha with disbelief. This Uchiha ninja, whom she'd completely dismissed, had unleashed such terrifying power, like a born emperor, completely overwhelming her. Uchiha Leonyen, you've been hiding your strength. Mito Menyen, also paralyzed, his glasses askew, wore an expression of utter shock. He clearly hadn't anticipated Uchiha Leonyen possessing such terrifying might. As for the third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, though still seated in his chair, his usual calm had shattered, replaced by a storm within. Things had progressed to this point, the truth laid bare. Even an idiot could see that Uchiha Leonian was the mastermind behind the Uchiha clan's actions. That explained why Danzo's root operatives, as well as all the Sarutobi clan ninjas, had been eliminated. He'd resisted the Conqueror's haki with his Hokage's power, but he couldn't accept that an Uchiha was behind it all. What Sarutobi couldn't reconcile was how he'd been monitoring Uchiha Leonian with his crystal ball, even using Shursui to test him, a pure-hearted Uchiha, seemingly no threat. But now, that this supposedly harmless individual that had ruined the Uchiha's planned coup, wiped out the Sarutobi clan's ninja forces, and was now unleashing his power in the Hokage's office. It was a slap in the face, leaving Sarutobi feeling like he'd swallowed something nasty. He should have dealt with the Uchiha a long time ago. Watching the scene unfold, Uchiha Fugaku was the only one who maintained his composure, witnessing Uchiha Leonian's terrifying strength, and feeling the sheer power of his aura. He felt no fear. He was even a little relieved that Leonian had been born into the Uchiha clan. Otherwise. Now, can we talk? A slight smirk touched Uchiha Leonian's lips as he stepped forward, looking down at Koharu and Mito Menyen. Still want to play hardball? Uchiha Leonian, are you trying to start a rebellion? Looking up at Leonian, Koharu Uchitain, though terrified, tried to sound tough. Hiding for so many years, you're truly a wolf in sheep's clothing. If you have the guts, kill us. Before she could finish, Mito Menyen seemed to find courage. His eyes set, he took a deep breath and said in a condescending tone, "We are the elders of Konoha. If you kill us." Swish. He didn't even finish his sentence. Apparently, he had asked for death. Splatter, the sound of spraying blood filled the air. Mito Menyen didn't even have time to react before his head was separated from his body. What just happened? Those were Mito Menyen's last thoughts. He had simply wanted to threaten Uchiha Leonian, but he hadn't expected Leonian to be so ruthless, killing without hesitation. You killed Mito Menyen. Seeing Menyen's head roll, Koharu's face twisted in horror. She stared at Uchiha Leonian, her eyes filled with dread. In her mind, Uchiha Leonian was a bloodthirsty demon. Uchiha Leonian, you. Witnessing the murder of Mito Menyen, and remembering the head of Danzo Shimura hidden under his desk, the third Hokage began to tremble, consumed by anger. Did you hear him? He told me to kill him. Uchiha Leonian shrugged nonchalantly, chuckling. I've never heard a death wish like that before. Oh, and you. The next moment, a cold glint flashed in Uchiha Leonian's eyes. Cut the weeds and pull out the roots, or they'll just grow back. Since he'd started, he might as well finish the job, uniting Shimura and the others below. You made me unhappy, so I couldn't level up silently. Now I want your life. Screw the plot. No. I surrender. I admit defeat. Sensing the blatant killing intent emanating from Uchiha Leonian, Koharu panicked. As one of the village's most influential figures, she didn't want to die yet. Splatter, too late. The blade drew a swift arc. Uchitain Koharu's head flew off, just like Mito Menyen's. Perhaps, even in death, she didn't understand why Uchiha Leonian was so ruthless. They were, after all, elders of Konoha. Shouldn't he have shown some restraint? Instead, the Uchiha had killed them like dogs. Chapter 79. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bam! A sharp voice cut through the air. That was Koharu's head hitting the floor. Silence. The whole office went dead quiet. Everyone watched as Uchiha Leonian took out Mito Menyen and Koharu Juan with cold precision. Uchiha Fugaku and Sarutobi Hiruzen were stunned, like they'd been hit by a bolt of lightning. This was bad. Really bad, unbelievable. Neither of them thought the Uchiha would strike without even a word, leaving Mito Menyen and Koharu no chance. Glurp. A few seconds dragged by. Uchiha Fugaku swallowed hard, his gaze shifting from shock to admiration, even awe, of Uchiha Leonian, casually taking down Konoha's top brass, Koharu, Menyen, and Danzo, while barely breaking a sweat. In the ninja world, maybe only an Uchiha from the old days could pull that off, right? Brutal, seriously hardcore. It's over. Konoha is totally screwed. The third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, felt the world closing in. He swayed, his vision blurring. He'd wanted to stop Uchiha Ryonyen, but the Uchiha was just too fast. It was over before he could even react. He could only watch as Menyen and Koharu were taken out, and now, with Shimura Danzo, Koharu, and Menyen gone, the root organization crippled, and the Sarutobi clan's forces diminished, Konoha's strength had been slashed by at least a third. Once the news broke, and it would, the sand, stone, cloud, and mist villages would jump at the chance to kick them while they were down. After all, Konoha had come out on top in both the Second and Third Shinobi World Wars. Now, with a civil war brewing, it was a golden opportunity, and any idiot could see it was time to strike back. The more he thought about it, the more terrified he became, a chill crawling up his spine. He dedicated his entire life to holding the Hokage title and ensuring Konoha's long-term peace and prosperity, to be the guiding light for the village. Now, it was all gone to hell. However, Sarutobi wouldn't admit it, but if it weren't for his own failings, the Uchiha wouldn't have been pushed to this point. There was always a cause and effect, and now his chickens were coming home to roost. Uchiha Ryonyen, thought maybe it was too much to bear, maybe he sensed the end of his Hokage reign. The old man's face was a mask of agony, but he still managed to roar, "What the hell are you trying to do? You're dragging Konoha into the abyss. There's no coming back from this. Oh, please." Looking at the sputtering old fool in front of him, Uchiha Ryonyen shook his head, a trace of disgust on his face, and said, "You brought this on yourself." That it was true, Hiruzen had been a force to be reckoned with in his youth, otherwise, the second Hokage wouldn't have chosen him as his successor. He'd clawed his way to the top with a dedication bordering on obsession, but, as soon as he took the Hokage's seat, he changed. He became obsessed with clinging to power. When Konoha White Fang was ostracized for choosing his comrades over a mission, Sarutobi stayed silent. He ignored Orochimaru's increasingly dangerous experiments, blinded by his ambition. On the night of the Nine-Tails attack, he provided minimal support to Minato, and after Minato's death, he jumped at the chance to reclaim the Hokage title. Then there was Naruto's treatment, the Uchiha massacre. Do you even think you Uchiha are normal? Seeing the disdain in Uchiha Ryonyen's eyes, the third Hokage spat out, "Name one Uchiha who's actually sane." Madara, Izuna, Kagami, Shisui, Itachi, even Fugaku, none of you are right in the head. And you're no exception. So maybe wiping out the Uchiha was the right call. He clutched his chest, his voice thick with bitterness. Do you have any idea how hard I've worked for Konoha's peace and prosperity? Do you know how much I've had to endure? Yeah, you've got a point. Hearing this, Uchiha Ryonyen surprisingly agreed with Sarutobi. The Uchiha powerhouses, especially those who awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan, seemed to develop a few screws loose. Even Fugaku, who was slightly more stable, was influenced by Kodo Amatsukami, but who cared? As long as he was normal, it didn't matter if everyone else was crazy. He had a system, after all, that wasn't exactly normal either. It's all over now. Konoha's finished. The third Hokage shook his head, his face a mask of despair. I've lost everything. I have nothing to lose. A surge of chakra erupted from Sarutobi Hiruzen, his life's work in ashes. He'd finally snapped. Good. Uchiha Ryonyen's eyes lit up. He grinned. Since you're throwing caution to the wind, let's tear Konoha apart. Air quake. With those words, Uchiha Ryonyen clenched his fists. Surrounded by a shimmering, fluorescent white aura, he unleashed two Haki-infused punches into the air. Rumble. The terrifying force of the quake ripped through the air like a 13-magnitude earthquake, tearing towards Konoha. Crack, crack. The air exploded, without warning, starting from the Hokage building. Visible cracks appeared, spreading like ripples and fracturing the very air. P.S. Asking for tips. Collection. Flowers and reviews, new sprouts. Thank you. Chapter 80. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Konoha Village was deceptively calm. The root organization's elite were gone, Danzo was dead, and news of the Sarutobi clan's ninja killing hadn't leaked, but then, rumble, starred at a soul-shaking force pulsed through the village, and moments later, the air shimmered, cracks appearing randomly, like a shattered mirror, everything froze, civilians and ninjas alike stared, disbelief etched on their faces. Cracks in the air. Ugh. We're under attack. Enemy attack. Get to the Hokage building. Something's happened to Lord Third, that the initial shock wore off, replaced by a wave of panic and confusion. Instinct took over. Over 600 villagers scrambled toward the shelters, Konoha's ninjas, and the clan ninjas, focused on the Hokage building, their faces grim. The cracks seemed to originate from there. Let's go. To the Hokage's office. Sarutobi's in trouble. The heads of the Hyuga, Akimichi, Nara, Yamanaka, and Inuzuka clans, along with their elite ninjas, raced toward the Hokage building. Even the Umbu on patrol, caught off guard, hurried to the Hokage's office, stunned. Meanwhile, inside the Hokage's office. What kind of Kekkai Genkai is this? Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, watched Uchiha Ryonyan punch the air, creating cracks, and a flicker of fear crossed his aged face. From the intense force he felt moments ago, to the cracks now appearing in the air, Ryonyan was proving more terrifying and unbelievable with every passing second. Wait, could it be? Suddenly, realization dawned. Sarutobi pointed a trembling finger at Ryonyan. You're trying to lure all of Konoha's ninjas here. That's right. Ryonyan shrugged. It was just a little air pressure, nothing lethal. He needed to make a spectacle of it. He was committed now. He would expose Sarutobi's wrongdoings right here, in front of everyone, and end the third Hokage's fire-forged legacy. Your actions are unforgivable. Sarutobi realized the game Ryonyan was playing. The thought of being publicly shamed in Konoha sent a jolt of panic through him. This is only the beginning. Ryonyan sensed the approaching ninjas and stomped his foot. Crack, crack, star. The Hokage building, already weakened, crumbled. Let's go. With a series of whooshes, Ryonyan, Fugaku, and Sarutobi Hizashi landed in the plaza in front of the Hokage building. Lord Third. Is that an Uchiha? What's going on? Are the Uchiha rebelling? Did they attack the Hokage's office? The Konoha ninjas who had arrived were bewildered, staring at Ryonyan and Sarutobi facing off. Some of the clan heads exchanged knowing glances, a sense of dread creeping in. There was no question, the Uchiha extermination plan had failed. They didn't know how, but Ryonyan was clearly the key to the Uchiha's hidden strength. The Hinata, Akimichi, Nara, Yamanaka, and Aburame clan heads felt a shift in the winds. Ryonyan, what are you doing? That might guy muttered, stunned. Is he rebelling? This. Kakashi, emerging from the shadows, was shaken. This couldn't be happening. The Uchiha clan, rebelling against the third Hokage. Ryonyan-kun is incredible. Moegi and Yuhi Kurenai were speechless, a mix of shock and awe on their faces. Everyone, don't misunderstand. The Uchiha clan is only fighting back after being forced into a corner. Whoosh. Another figure landed, holding 3 heads. It was Fugaku. Ah. That's the Konoha Elder Council. Fugaku's arrival, with the severed heads of Koharu Utatane, Hamura Mitokado, and a grotesque, lifeless Danzo Shimura, sent a wave of horror through the crowd. People gasped, hearts pounding. They were dead. The elders Koharu and Hamura, and the leader of Root, Danzo, were dead. One thought echoed through the minds of everyone present, the Uchiha. This was beyond daring. P.S. Please consider leaving tips and collections and reviews. Sprout New. Thank you.